This episode of On the Delivery is brought to you by Haley Bug Creations. Any sticker or decal that you want, she can make. You want to customize? She can do that too. Check out her Etsy shop. The link is in the episode description. There you will find a large variety of different decals and stickers made from premium vinyl that is sure to last. So guys, get yourself or someone you know, a Schmedlex, Smiley, or whatever company they work for. Get them a sticker, okay? You will not be disappointed. They will not be disappointed by the quality of these decals. And now, let's get on with the show. Hey guys, Dave here. Just wanted to give a quick disclaimer that the following episode contains discussions about alcohol and drug abuse, sexual assault, rape, and suicide, which some may find disturbing. So, listener discretion is advised.
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right. Here we go. We're recording in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of All in the Delivery, episode 74. I am your host, Dave, and I am joined here with my co-host, as always. You guys know him down in West by God, Virginia.
Fuck.
Luke, how's it going, bud?
Well, right before we recorded, I just want to get this on record. It would take more than 3 tall boys to make me feel rough in the morning, but I just realized that the days are getting rougher. Ashley told me, she was like, every time when you start this, I don't start it peppy and then I get into it. And I was like, well, I'll just keep my record going. But yeah, I was like, I wouldn't be hungry. As that intro is going, I wouldn't be hungover at 3 beers, 3 tall boys. But anyways, no, all's good, brother. All's well.
Awesome. And boy, we got a lot of people to introduce here today. So let's first go around the table here. Let's start with our producer, Nate. Nate, how's it going this evening, buddy?
It's going good, man. What's up, everybody?
Good, man. Thank you for being here as always and doing what you do. He is the true GOAT behind this podcast.
He really is, man.
Fun, man.
And he's been dealing with a lot of fucking ice too. I know you have as well, Dave.
Oh yeah.
And so I think everybody that is going to be on this tonight has dealt with, everybody's not, deals with the snow and ice.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah, that's right.
It's true. It's true. Also, I don't know if they have good service tonight. We'll find out. The Rolling Rogans, guys, are you there?
It's getting better.
Hey.
Oh, damn, there he is. What up, Joe
We're almost
Rogan?
there.
I think when we keep our video off, we're good.
Yeah, we might sound like robots.
Not anymore.
So far.
You
Cool,
sound a lot better than he did right before we got logged on. We
Awesome.
logged on, recorded,
Yay.
whatever the word is.
Yeah.
Well,
We're
thank you,
rolling in up near Sacramento right now,
Lodi, California.
which I didn't know there was a town named Lodi.
It's wine country, so there's lots of vineyards around.
Yes.
Nice.
Make sure you get yourself some good wine.
I think we're going to be doing that
Hell
after
yeah.
this show.
There you go.
It's cold
Lodi.
for us.
Oh my God. Don't even start. Don't even.
No,
is it,
I
like-
know.
Is it like 5 degrees right now? It's probably like 5 degrees outside. Absolute terrible, but thank you guys. for
It's 60 degrees
being
here. We're whiny little bitches.
Yes, you are. Fun.
You got me curious.
No, it's
25
53.
here.
It's
All right.
53.
that's not
25 the winter weather.
I'll just drink some wine.
bad.
I shouldn't have looked at the weather.
Yeah, just drink some wine. You guys will warm right up. You'll be good. You'll be good. Also, guys, continue going around the table here. We have 2 very special guest joining us tonight. And this is one that I know Luke is excited for, and we are all excited for. And Luke was able to hook this all up tonight with everybody. So first, let me introduce to you Tammy Martin. Tammy, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
Package car driver, correct?
Coming on 34 years.
That's awesome. That is
Good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Whew,
That is
good for you.
awesome.
That is awesome. And our second guest over there, her name on Instagram is always, I've always butchered it. And I'm so excited to meet her finally face to face. It's Samantha Say. Samantha, how are you?
Uye do ude. I
I love her.
Oh,
I butchered your name. and
I butchered the pig Latin. I can't do it anyway.
I remember I messaged you like, I don't know, however long ago it was. It was probably like a year ago now. And I was like, yo, how in the world do you pronounce it? Because you kept like commenting on the questions of the week and I had to say it. And I felt so embarrassed.
That's okay. You just got to know pig Latin. That's it. So, but I'm good. I appreciate you guys letting me come by and just chill with you.
Absolutely.
absolutely. Yeah, appreciate
awesome.
you both coming on. Fucking A.
Awesome. And guys, real quick here, before we get started, just to get the stuff out of the way, got to give a huge shout out to all the Patreon supporters for supporting the show, supporting what we do here. Thank you guys. Give a huge shout out to Tony, Sam V, Ashley, Andrew, Fernando, Nate, Clement, Jerica, Tad, Sam C, Luke, Ryan, Will, Chuck, Jacob, and Sean. Thank you guys for your continued support. As always, we appreciate it. So, Luke, how do you want to get this one going, bud?
Well, dude, I hate to make, I made kind of a thing I put at the bottom, and we may as well start off because as we record this, I got to say something about Meatloaf. Meatloaf.
Oh my God. Don't.
Absolutely.
So, and this, like,
Buddy, this is the fourth freaking episode in a row. Ever since 2022 began, we've had to mention some like person.
And the only reason we didn't on the next episode is because we recorded it early. That's fucked up. Like, and I'm not laughing about that, but literally, it's been every time we've recorded now. And then Louis Anderson died too.
Yeah, Louis did too. Yep.
Louis Anderson passed
He
away.
raised me as a kid because, the TV was all I watched.
Exactly.
I always, when I saw him in, I don't know if any of you saw they remade, well, they didn't remake, but they did a sequel to Coming to America.
No, I know.
Yes. I watched it.
The sequel?
It was amazing. It was amazing because they were amazing. Everybody was in it. Well, mostly everybody, but Louis had a cameo. And I was thinking I don't know how old he was, but I remember in the movie, I was thinking, man, he looked older. He was, I know he might have been up there in years, but still sad. But Meatloaf, I just had to say real quick because so my dad, I listened to a lot of, I grew up with Led Zeppelin, obviously Rush. Rush was what my wedding party came out to. I was a big fucking classic rock fan because of my dad. So I knew who Meatloaf was, but I didn't really, I didn't see or know who. I was like a kid, but I ended up watching a movie about him, and I forget how old it was. It was kind of, I don't know. We were probably, or I was, I don't know, like 15 or 16, I feel like. And his mom, Pat, got sick and passed away. And I felt like that was like, it's kind of the same situation with me. And I just sort of like, I remember just sitting there, like it was, I don't want to say it was like a connection to that, but after I knew that, I started listening to the Meatloaf way more. I got into it way more. So I don't know, like that was just, it's weird, like how when people pass away that you didn't really like personally know how it can hit you so hard. But damn, man, that one, like I was, fuck.
It's
So-
cultural.
RIP.
That's why it's cultural. So that's
And
why it's gonna hit you
everybody-
hard.
Right. But his real name was, if it was Paul, somebody kept saying his real name. And I was like, I mean, I don't want to, I was like, I feel like as a fan, he would want his fans to remember him as Meatloaf. He wouldn't be mad
Absolutely.
if he wouldn't be
Absolutely.
mad at us for saying Meatloaf as a paying respect to him. So
R.I.P.
yeah, R.I.P. to
Meatloaf.
an amazing singer. Yeah, absolutely. God, but you're right, Dave. It's been from John Madden to fucking now. It's been a brutal.
Betty White, John Madden, Bob Saget,
Ugh.
Now Meatloaf.
Louis
Oh
Andrew.
my God, Louis. Yeah, my goodness, dude. Come on, give us a break, 2022. Fuck,
No kidding.
goodness, dude. It's terrible.
Goodness.
Fucking terrible. But anyways.
Just saying.
It sucks starting off the episode.
I know it does, but I felt like because I listened to Ashley, so she listened. We had a day today, spent a good day together, and everything. We got as we was to give an update to everybody because I know we announced that a few episodes ago. Got a good report from the doctor and everything, so everything's going well. But she was saying something about like she wanted to listen to the last episode. And I said, I almost made a joke about it where I was because we were talking about Bob Saget. And I was like, this was bad because we had talked about Betty White and John Madden and Bob Saget. I almost said, and I stopped myself. And I was like, I almost made a joke about that, but I didn't. It was going to be like, next episode, who's it going? And then this shit happens. I was like,
I
Jesus.
know, right?
Your thoughts.
Insert
put it
foot.
in the
Yeah.
universe.
I was like, insert foot in mouth or brain. Yeah. I was like, I even stopped myself, but damn it.
You thought it and you made it happen. And it's all your fault, man.
Yeah.
I blame you.
Sorry, Meatloaf.
I know. So let's start a little bit with Tammy here. So Tammy, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where you from and how did you get started with the company?
I am from Worcester, Oklahoma, southeastern Oklahoma.
Right.
And I started with the company on St. Patrick's Day in 1988. Was on spring
Nice.
break in Dallas, Texas. Got the call to come back to Fort Smith, Arkansas for my interview. Went back all the way back to Fort Smith. Got the job. Wasn't going to start till Monday, so I went back for spring break in Dallas. And got started because I was a country girl who could haul hay.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah, they needed to hire a girl. That's what I was telling Samantha earlier. I was hired because of affirmative action. And they had to hire a woman, and I had a friend that worked at, and he called me up and said, "Hey, you want a job starting out at $8 an hour? And after a month, you'll get $1 raise." And I'm like, heck yeah. You know, back in 88, that was some good money.
It was $8 an hour in 88.
Honey, $8 an hour. We used to get a $750 bonus as freeloaders back then. And a turkey.
Oh,
That's what you want.
Yeah.
Twice.
my first year was the last year they gave turkeys at our
Oh,
centers. I got
I
to
miss that.
experience it once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-mm.
Unreal.
Yep.
That is awesome. And you said
What-
going on it for 34 years?
March will be my 34th year.
That is awesome.
So
Congratulations.
from then, how many female drivers are in your building now?
I was the second one. Then the one before me went management. And so now we have 5 altogether. We have 4 full-time. When I retire, I will be the first female driver to retire from Fort Smith.
Well, I can say, you said country girl. That I'm going to tell everybody right now, if people that had never baled hay before, that's a fucking you bail. That's a harder job than delivering a package car. You might not have as
Absolutely.
much, you may not have as much little things to worry about with driving, but I'll tell you, I'll give you a quick hay baling story. West by God, Virginia hay baling story here. And this was a coach at my high school. He was one of them hard ass old school guys. And his dad and my grandfather were good friends. And my dad used to work for his dad when he was younger, used to bale hay and shit. So I did it in high school a little bit. And then like I was like 19. I was like a year or two out of high school. Guy called me up. He was like, "Hey, we're kind of short-handed. You want to bale hay or what?" I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll go." And I mean, it sucked in high school. I'm not saying it was hard then. I ended up getting like an allergy shit somehow. Still have had it to this day, to where I started doing it and I was like sneezing a lot, and my arms were getting heavy, and like I couldn't see my face. And then like somebody came up to me and they're like, "Dude, you okay?" I was like, "I don't know, man. I feel really, it's like something isn't right." So I look at a side mirror on one of the trucks and my face just is all swollen and smells like, oh God. So like I went to Coach Michael and I was like, "Coach, I think I'm allergic to it." He's like, "Bullshit. You're allergic to hard work." I fucking did. No fucking man. He was not having none of it. I ended up finishing the day, but I didn't get back. I just went back to help that day and found out like the hard, and I was like too scared to walk away that day from that man, even though I was like 2 years removed from high school. I wouldn't have fucking, I was like, okay, yeah, I worked like 8 more hours.
I've literally thrown 400 bales of alfalfa on a horse ranch when I worked on a horse ranch when I was a kid.
That's like 90 pounds each too, right?
Alfalfa's a little bit lighter, but it's not for the weak at heart. I mean, I was in great shape, thank God. But
my goodness,
yeah, that is a job right there.
It is a job.
Yeah,
that's how I got hired. Haul hay.
That's awesome. But it's so cool because you went to the job interview and was like, "Fucking, I'm going back to spring break." And
that's what I was laughing at.
Greatest decision. I mean, that was the best decision you could have made. 34-year career. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not have went back and enjoyed that spring break?
So, are there any plans to retire soon?
I put in for my retirement papers. I haven't always been full time.
Mm-hmm.
I started out in '88 in Fort Smith, Arkansas, and worked in a little train car out behind the Fort Smith building. That was the Oklahoma building. They moved us to Sallisaw, Oklahoma, in 1990. I worked there from 90 till 99, transferred to Tulsa, worked in Tulsa, transferred as a preloader, worked in Tulsa. And then they asked me to go into management, part-time management. And I said, not until I learned this building. I wanted to know the addresses. I wanted to know what I was doing before I went into management.
Yeah. And telling people what to do. That's smart.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so I learned it and went into management till 2012. But in 2010, I transferred back to Fort Smith, Arkansas, because my dad got sick and ended up getting transferred right after my dad passed away. But transferred back to Fort Smith, and they asked me to be a driver in 2012 and started out being a driver at 43. Coverage drove in 90, like from like 90, in the early 90s, I coverage drove. So I'd already had experience with the diet and stuff like that. So, but.
And here you are.
I have done every job except for be a full-time management, which I would never.
Yeah,
No, ma'am.
Especially today.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
those guys. No.
Those guys.
No.
Zip it.
Yeah.
Don't say anything.
Nope.
Right.
That's awesome. 34 years. That is awesome. Samantha, how about you? How did you get started?
So
And
I
and
was
of course,
like this.
and of course, where are you from?
Okay, so let's start with where I'm from.
Yes.
So I was born in Florida. I told you guys this, and then I moved here in 1988. So here is Denver. So pretty much I lived in Denver when I was a kid because we were super poor. It was like the poor people's place. Like that's where you would live if you were poor, if you were poor. But it's completely changed now. Now you have to be a millionaire to live in the city. So which is wild. So but I've been here since I was just an itty bitty baby.
Mhm.
And then now I live in Broomfield, but I'm still kind of hood rat trailer trash. I just
Sorry,
I look like I fit
bust
in.
out.
But since we moved here, the cops have been called 4 times. So and that was in May. So that's where I'm from. And then how I got started at UMass was I was with my ex-husband. We were really, really young when we got married, and then we got pregnant. Well, first we got pregnant, then we got married, then we got pregnant again. So I have 2 kids.
Mhm.
But I was like all about Walmart for some reason. I was like, Walmart pays me so well, blah, 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 and then I ended up quitting when I was like mid-pregnancy just because it got to be too tough on my body because I was pulling pallets of meat and like stocking
Oh,
them.
Sure.
So I was like doing a laborious position. And then I had my kid and we were just teenagers when I had my first. And so my ex and I had a falling out. So I was like living at home, an 8 mile with my mom and my baby. And so his mom, she's at the time, I think she was working there maybe 15 years at full time. She was one of the first like 22s when they rolled it out, I think in the early 90s. So she's been there a long time. And this was in 2008. I don't think that's right. I think she was there like 8 years because doing my math wrong. It doesn't matter. But she from there, she told me, she's like, why don't you go to like you get free benefits? And she's, selling me on like the stuff you normally sell to people. And I was like, fine, I'll do this for now that I'm gonna go to Walmart because some labor work. No. And then I started in 2008. I got hired after peak season, which I didn't know was not normal. So I qualified come February, and then the recession hit in 2008, and I barely made it to day 30 without being laid off. And the other people who like were hired around me were all laid off. So I started part-time, as a hub rat for 7 years, and then tried to go driving in 2015, and I got disqualified, and I was angry, didn't want to try again. And then all of a sudden I got a wild hair up my ass and I was like, you know what, I'm going to try again. And I'm going to be a driver again. And so I qualified in 2016. So no, I don't know my math. I don't know. It's like 6-7 years that I've been driving.
Okay.
So, and it's, and now I've moved on to the big boy trucks and I have like this relief. It feels really good.
Badass.
That's
I've
awesome.
worked so hard for like a year. I put everything off in 2021, like all of my hobbies, all of my friends. Like I started cutting people off of my team. I was like, you're blocked, you're a naysayer, go eat a dick, like fuck you, and I really like isolated myself just so I could learn the job. So now I finally won my bid in feeders. So it's been 7 years inside, like 7 years as a driver.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
I already know as a feeder. I already know as a feeder, you guys, you all use the real chains. So as a package car driver, where you're at, do they have the regular chains or do they have the strips like
they got regular chains? They
There we
actually
go.
started getting people in trouble with the cheaters just because, like I remember Hoffman in one blizzard we had, like, I don't know, 5 years ago, I was still new. He chained his stuff up. He got on the highway. He's going up the highway. All of a sudden, like, he exits the highway and, like, for some reason, he, like, goes to his first stop and he hears something happen. He's like, what is that? And this was a blizzard where I think we didn't leave till 11. They still sent us out and we, took us more than an hour to get on route. And we're like, you guys are stupid. Why would you do that? And, but he chained up. He was like one of the first people, like why they were like, they had to bring us back because his chains broke and then grabbed his exhaust on one side and ripped it all the way to the other side. And he's like, how am I supposed to get back when I don't have my exhaust? Like, I'm going to die in the cab. So we have real chains. Like, we don't have the snow often, but we do. And I learned how to chain up in package car. So chaining up on, Eisenhower and Vale Pass was no big deal when I did it. I was actually more scared of the traffic. So
Yeah. True that.
See, I'm at the point right now, like Friday, it sucked because my route is spread out, but like so many roads are fine. So like I've got a lot of pickups. It's such a pain. Like I didn't even put them on Friday because I knew I wasn't going to get done anyway, because I was off Thursday, and whoever ran my route didn't do a whole lot of anything. He missed like half my pickups, and so I had to go dump my shit off at the building because my route's nearby. And yeah, it was just it was whatever. Monday is going to be it's going to be a catch up week, but
hopefully your Saturday driver did all right.
I hope, because I got forced in last Saturday, and I was looking at my truck, and I was looking at my shit in there, and I was looking at I didn't even know who it was, just sitting there. I'm like, you motherfucker, man. I wasn't even on my own because my route wasn't on, so I ended up just running a bunch of random stuff. But yeah,
That's the worst. Like, that's really the worst, is when they like force you in and they don't even put you like out in your area, and you got to go and that's
because technically it belongs to the Saturday driver. So that area is like their route.
Yeah.
It's like,
right.
that's your once a day or once a week route. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And it was pure just made up junk, because it wasn't like it wasn't even like my stuff was. I ran 100, and I'd put that thing in, and I would be like, it was like 9.1 miles away, and I'm on a road where I could go like max speed 15, 20, and I'm like, you got
all right,
That's my route.
That's my route. 45 minutes. That's my route.
God, I can't stand
I'm
it.
all dirt roads.
See, so okay, so as far as chains, do you guys have actual chains?
We don't.
So
If we get shitty weather like that, they shut us down.
Well, that's honestly it's starting to get to that point here, but then it's just like when they shut us down, so like they just packed, like we didn't work a couple Fridays, and then they didn't. I don't know what happened that Saturday. The weather was still bad, so I think they worked, but they must not have delivered much. But on that Monday, you just saw, it was like
the peak.
Dude, it was piled so much to where you could see the double SPAL label on the shit from Friday on the bottom. I was like, oh my God. And then you look at the diet, and the number's different than the sticker.
You're like, why didn't you cross out the PAL label?
Exactly. I take them off.
We get written up if we don't, so we have to.
I wish that happened where I'm at.
I'm in a hub though, so they're like, whoosh.
I mark them out if I can't take them off, but I do that for myself. I don't want shit to be fucked up on my truck the next day.
Well, no, I mean, and this is the thing. This is the thing. I preloaded for 5.5 years, and there's so many things now. Like, I used to think I was so wise at the end of my preload years, but I really didn't know shit then either. Because I used to be like, I don't know why they get so mad when their trucks like there would be guys that would tell me, like, when a truck would be parked, like swapped, I'd be like, I just loaded how you normally would. Don't worry about it. They're all the same. Yeah,
1,000 on a route that needs a 500.
Yeah, I get it so much more now. So much more.
Now you know why they want to go parcel.
Meanwhile, Samantha's over there just laughing at us like, you guys still over there suffering.
No, I know. No, we had an ice storm on Wednesday.
Ooh.
And then we had We had snow yesterday, so no, I know how it goes. We don't get it near as often, like where it's like continuous. So at least we'll have like, middle of the week will be fine.
There you
They're
go.
pretty good at treating the roads for us. So
So that's what we need here, but we do not.
but I am like,
Not good.
it's a package problem.
Exactly.
That's where you were going, mother.
Suckers.
I forgot. I start on Monday.
There you go.
Do you really? So this Monday is day one. Well,
This
not
is
day.
it. I won my bid. And I won my bid when they gave me a suspension on Tuesday. And I was like in the office and I was like, with my union steward, he's all,
Nice.
what? And I'm like, I'll call you later. And then on Wednesday, they gave me a termination letter. And I was like, well, it's funny. I'm not even going to be in the department. It's nice working for you, or it's miserable working for you. I'm not going to miss you. And he's like, well, here's your termination on that note. I forgot.
Well,
I should like get rid of that hierarchy idea. I should just be like low key, like, I remember.
Yep.
I remember.
I'm glad you got the bid and wish you the best of luck starting Monday.
Yeah,
awesome.
it's
Good
great.
deal.
Highly recommend for anyone.
Awesome.
Well, I'm gonna shift it to so Tammy. I had a question before because we were saying with this episode we were going to gear it towards with mental health and stuff and
Yes.
driving in common and what we do. But I had a question. Really, I guess to really start with, I don't know because I don't think we asked your dad this, Dave. I don't know if I probably meant to and forgot, but I did want to ask you because your kids are grown and you have grandkids now. Looking back, like, and that kind of factors in sort of with mental health because that's a huge balance to try to be as a mother doing this job, as you both know. And it's a lot. I mean, it's totally different probably than most. I mean, being that it's still a male dominated profession, you as a mother, I just, like we had talked to Misty about this, there's a lot more demands, like I said, that most people, women that are mothers don't do so looking back as your kids are growing, like how would you say I'm sure was there, how would you say looking back, do you feel how that was handled?
Well, I suffered really bad trauma when I was 13 years old. Kind of put that behind me for a lot of years. As a young mother, was married, was divorced, had 3 kids to raise. When I worked part-time and then I worked at Lowe's on the weekends. And after I got off work, I'd go to work at Lowe's. And then I worked on weekends. I would work at Dillard's department store for Liz Claiborne Company. I worked 3 jobs to take care of my kids.
You weren't necessarily a driver, but you were working you were working more hours and days than what was required of just what we were doing anyway.
I worked 3 jobs to be able to afford a house and to be able to take my kids to the drive-in on weekends and go to the water park in the summertime and stuff like that. We did a lot of fun stuff when we lived in Tulsa. I really enjoyed it. But for me, I did really good through my 20s, 30s, early 40s. This really did not come back to me until I moved back home where the trauma took place, and really hit me hard about 5 years ago. Is about how long I've been dealing with this. Went to San Diego for treatment in 2018. Stayed out in San Diego for 6 weeks. Was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, which is also called it's like double depression,
Mm.
if you will.
Depression, but fun.
Ah, ah. Just imagine just imagine. I mean, I know this is going to probably sound so crazy to so many people. Just imagine not even wanting to take a shower, brush your teeth, get out of bed, leave your house, talk to anyone.
Mhm.
I mean, gosh, it's. I mean, you feel like all is lost. Like you feel total desperation, and
It's definitely that's definitely
sense of
a lot.
despair. A sense of despair.
Yep, that doesn't leave.
I mean, when you have, I can't say, where I feel like with low points, and we've discussed, Dave and I talked to a friend of ours, we had talked about, I don't really, I understand what you're saying too. And I feel like, I mean, I don't want to say low point. I'm not trying to compare it, but I just a bit bad in dark places for a while, and kind of like, I don't want to say I've been full, but I don't want to say I get it, but I feel like I might vaguely understand it, if that makes sense.
I feel like everybody gets it. Like you don't got to explain it. I think everybody's had an episode. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
yeah,
I think
that's true.
it's just different in the way you experience it.
I went
Everybody's-
through
Totally.
3 months last year, you guys. 3 months last year that I barely got out of bed. 3 months, and caused a lot of problems with my family.
Yeah.
A lot of problems, because even though they want to understand, they couldn't understand because no one can. Sam, what do you think? How do you
Hold on.
explain that? How do you explain that?
My cat.
Your cat. I figured it was
She's
your
eating
cat.
my food on the stove. Sorry.
But
Little savages, cute cats.
I mean,
I think for you, like, because we talked before on the phone,
yeah,
I think when it comes down to it, like your family who's your age, it's a generational gap kind of idea. Because the younger people, they're totally
Yes.
okay with talking about it. Older people, they're like, mental health doesn't exist. You're just being lazy, and they put all these, things on you that are not true.
or
And it
why
literally-
can't you just forget about what happened to you? Why can't you just forget about it?
My mom
know?
gets that all the time, and like my dad does that to me. And so it's totally a generational thing, I think, when it comes down to it. And that's why it's harder for, older people who want to be open about it to speak about it and like to
Right.
put it into words to share with people, because for forever, like you couldn't talk about it, period.
No.
You try to say something that somebody did that was really upsetting, and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
that's where I think.
And
S- Go ahead.
oh, sorry.
Luke,
I was going to say that it happening to you a little later in life too. It probably even made it even more difficult than it would be normally for them,
Oh.
Because you were
because
busy.
right,
You're being a mom,
right. They were you were
working.
being the mom and being the support system, and
Yes.
The nest, and you're only working the one job versus the three, and so it's like, it can all come flooding back, like hitting you hard.
Yeah, and stress is a big trigger for me. And guess what our job is?
Mm.
Huge
Yes.
stress. Huge stress.
Mhm.
Huge stress.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
but something I want to get out there is just for the people who are going through this, have family members, anybody out there that's going through this, is that we have some tools that can help you while you are going through this, especially Teamsters out there who are going through this. we have short-term disability that you can use up to 26 weeks. If you
The
need
company is
to,
super aware. They give you the, EAP, you know,
you
in those
can go to treatment.
Mhm.
We've got Teledoc now, where you can find a therapist on Teledoc. And if you don't want to do it during the week, because it's hard to do that during the week when, like on my route, I don't have Wi-Fi when I get out there in the mountains, in the Boston mountains. And so, but you can do it on the weekends. And it may take you going through like 3 therapists to finally find your therapist that works for you.
Mhm.
You want to find a good psychiatrist so you can get your meds straight, because that was a big deal for me.
Or
Trying to
your
get your
family
meds.
doctor. Your family doctor is good
Or
too if you've been seeing them a long time.
My family doctor is absolutely amazing. Amazing. I mean, been terrific. And your family doctor, but we have some tools in place that can help you, that you don't have to just work through it. Even if you're going through alcohol, I mean, if you're having problems with substance abuse, alcohol abuse, mental health issues, you can take some time off for self-care and take care of yourself.
Don't
and
lose your job,
don't lose your job.
lose your livelihood.
Yeah, see, I went through this while I'm off, even though I had been approved, my boss is telling me that he's going to fire me. So guess what? That is just putting me further
Sure.
stressing me out.
Piling it up.
That was actually a question that I had, was that privately, how did they handle the situation? Because I remember you had told me before a little bit that your boss was kind of being a prick.
As someone who's never been a driver, who's never gone through those kind of stressors like we go through.
Right.
At least for years, they might have their 30 days, but that doesn't mean anything. Like,
this dude
to
never
go through
drove
it for
a day.
years.
This dude never drove a day.
Didn't even do 30 days, huh? Shit.
No.
Damn.
No.
For shame.
But thank God
Right.
for my immediate supervisor. He used to be my neighbor driver. And thank God for him, because if it wasn't for him, I'm sure that they would have did whatever they could to have fired me. But he told me, I don't want to fire anybody. But I had to email my boss the approval letters showing that I had been approved for my leave. And when you're going through depression, you do not want to have to deal with shit like that.
You don't have to deal with anything.
You don't want to deal with anything. And what's bad is you're bad about procrastinating about everything. Or I am with my diagnosis. You procrastinate, you put things off that you don't want to have to deal with. You put off doctor appointments, you put off therapy appointments. And for me, the one thing, I was going through TikTok one day, and I heard a video that said, nobody is coming. Nobody's coming. And that just really got me and made me realize that I've got to get a hold of myself, because I have so many things to look forward to. Even though I was feeling like I had nothing to look forward to, I'd put myself, in a bad financial, being off work for 3 months, feeling like I was in complete despair. And then I started thinking about all the things that were great in my life, that I owned my own house, that I have a car that's paid off, have 3 beautiful children who are doing great, have 3 beautiful grandkids who love me, that are wonderful. I have a family that would do anything in the world for me, but they didn't know what to do. And I will say to that, if you know someone that's going through depression and isn't able to get out of bed, And if you are able to go buy them some groceries, if you are able to come over and wash their dishes, take out their trash, come over, say, hey, do you want to go for a walk? Is there something I can do to help you? That sweep the porch, just check their mail. Simple things like that.
I think even just a phone call. Just to be like,
Absolutely.
hey, this is a check-in. I want to see how you're feeling. What have you been up to?
Yes, just to know that someone cares about you, because and the thing about it is, with depression, there is no cure, but there is remission. And try to get yourself, like what I've done is I've written down a list of goals for this year. I've hired a fitness trainer, nutritionist, just to get myself, because you need to nourish your body. You need self-care fitness helps. Just if you go in the gym and you walk on a treadmill for 20 minutes, you're still going to be helping yourself.
I can say from the treadmill thing, because I was thinking tomorrow, I took a spill on the ice yesterday, hardcore, and I'm sore as hell, but I've been sparred. I've been going back to a gym, and it's been kind of rejuvenating me in a sense, because I haven't done it in so long, but it's made me like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it or not tomorrow. It depends on my left side's pretty sore. But anyways, yeah, I was just saying that.
And
I will try.
Else,
I'll
can
try.
I say this?
Yeah, absolutely.
When it comes to self-care, and when you're like, I was having some problems with my left leg. I had like a fire feeling going through my leg. Go to a chiropractor. We have chiropractic, we can go to a chiropractor.
Dave's been harping on me forever.
Dude adjusted me.
Incredible.
He said my hips were out of line. Adjusted me, and I have felt so much better. But that comes along with self-care.
I know drivers who have chiropractors on route, and they'll schedule their lunch, and they'll go see the chiropractor.
I need to. One of these days, I'm going to do this, because I still
need to.
I haven't yet
I've
either.
been on him about it.
Dave's been on me for months.
Yeah, like I started going like a year ago, and I was just like,
love it.
I don't even know what they do. They would look at look at me, and I mean, I wonder if I've worked for I've been doing this almost 15 years. Got hit by a totaled car with my body, and been boxed and played football games. How bad is it, Doc? God, it's got to look horrible.
I'm telling you though, Luke, they really can. It's amazing what they can do. He'd probably be able to watch you walk and be like, "Oh yeah, you got all this going on."
That's part of the reason. I don't know. That's why I kind of want to keep staying active, but I'm afraid I'm going to
just stay active. Just do it. Just stay active. Yeah. Don't become sedentary outside of work, because you have the muscle memory. Because I mean, let me tell you, I was in feeders for 5 months, and then I come back to packages, and even though my body hurt, I still had like the start-stop process like down to a T. Like when you first start, you're like, parking brake. Wow, what's that beeping? So I mean, the muscle memory is there, so you need to be able to just keep your body moving in other ways.
Right.
So, because then you can't just rely on that, because your body will still deteriorate in the same way that a sedentary type of job would let you.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's like my dad. He's going to get knee surgery soon, but that's what he always said. Like when I was growing up, if we would try to play, like my dad was really good at basketball when he was younger, because he was 6'6", big man, but he would never play basketball, which understandably so. I wouldn't play basketball right now. I'd be too afraid to get hurt. But he didn't really do that's what he would always say. Like he didn't really do much, because he said, I don't want to get hurt, and always made an excuse for it. But he ended up he's ended up hobbled too, though. So that's what I was thinking. Like if I don't if I say that, because I didn't want to start sparring again because I hadn't done it in so long. And especially like right when I started doing it was right when we found out that my wife was pregnant. And I was like, I don't know. Should I be doing it? Like, I don't go like, it's not like a Rocky movie. You know what I mean? It's not like, nothing like that, but
It's age appropriate.
still it's like, yeah, I don't know. But regardless, though, it's definitely made me feel like just that little bit. But it's so true. You're right. You need to move in other ways.
I mean, you just talk to the other drivers who are like there's drivers who go home like me and just like scroll on their phone all day. And then it's like, you're really not doing anything productive for your body. But if you talk to the guys who are like, yeah, I do a basketball league every week. I mix up my letters. But you do, just doing like one thing once a week. For a while, Park and I, we would be climbing every Sunday with one of our retired guys. And we made a really good group of friends at the climbing gym. And we kind of like, I don't know, I put it off a lot last year. So I think it's just good, even just like a once a week thing. It doesn't have to be daily.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I mean, like for like me, for like during the summertime, it's softball. Like I play softball. I play, in a men's softball league every Wednesday night. And, like that's it just, you can even relate that to besides just having that exercise and that, but it's also that time to just, how people say, do me, you know what I mean? Like that's that's that time for me to get away.
It's self-care.
Yeah, it's self-care. Exactly. Exactly. And so I had a question for you too, Samantha. So, because Tammy obviously told us the stuff that she's gone through. Do you mind sharing what you have gone through?
I mean, I could write a book about it, but I don't mind sharing. I like overshare everything. So, but like, I don't know. I was talking to Tammy. We were, because on my Instagram, it's like I shit post, and it'll either be like, mental health stuff or comedy or something. I think, I pique people's interest, especially like about the mental health. I have people who will, hit me up and we share stories. And, and I was telling her, I was like, you sound so much like my mom. Like, but I was telling her, like, I'm happy because, she's got the wherewithal to reach out for help for herself. Whereas like with my mom, it's been the opposite. I try to, pretty much, okay, like I can start like from the beginning, like of everything, like as quick as I can, because I've been doing this for the past, like since October. So my oldest kid was spent 35 of the last 90 days in 2021 inpatient care for mental health. They were diagnosed at one of the facilities with borderline personality disorder. And, with that, I can easily come to the conclusion that runs in my family for sure. And, it's been a huge damper as far as like being able to be just to function normally in a society that doesn't talk about this kind of stuff. So like what I know about my grandma from my mom, she's pretty wacko. She was like, an alcoholic. And so, like these things like trickle down. And the woman's a felon. Like I've never met her in person, but, she's a felon. She's done a lot of not great things. And then just hearing the stories from my mom growing up, I would go hang out with my friends and their dynamics would be so much different. Like my friend would hug her dad every day he came home and I'd look at that like, you're touching your parent. That's disgusting. That was like half teenager, half like, I wish my parents would hug me kind of thing. But like, kids who grow up in it, it's, it's a lot harder. So essentially like I grew up with the mentally unstable part. And, I didn't quite realize until probably like a couple years into package car driving that it was an issue. And like, I've always done therapy since my son was born, because I was like, oh, it's just postpartum depression, and then come to find out it's major depressive disorder from childhood, because, it's been a long going process for me to get my own help. And, Tammy really resonates with me just because she reminds me of my mom. And I'm really happy that she's, working forward and being honest with herself to get the help that she needs, like versus my mom who, you know, criticized me not that long ago about saying, well, I didn't grow up with Google. I can't just Google how I feel. And I was like, all right.
Well, it's
Okay.
like you said though with the generational thing, and it's
Mhm.
just
Yes.
almost because that was like, and I literally just had a conversation with my dad about my mom very recently at 37 years old,
Mhm.
and because it was kind of like it was not really. It wasn't like he wouldn't talk about it with me
It
growing
wasn't
up,
a thing.
but it would shut. It was a tragic, it was a sad part in his life. So he didn't, that was a thing. He would shut that down really. And I told him but we literally just had this comment. I feel like literally moving forward, I've had like, this has been like probably about a month ago. But I could say we've talked more recently than we have in fucking years. And it wasn't
great,
like, which is not like and it is great. And and we wouldn't have said that our relationship is bad, but until we had that, because we never had that because of how that is, you know what I mean? Like, just like you said, it just, his dad, my grandfather, I loved him very much. But he was a badass, Marine, World War II, greatest generation. He was brought up how he was brought up. My dad was not, and I was brought up the same. I was born in '84. I'm not exactly. I mean, I was sort of, I feel like I've told Dave, so I feel like our generation will do. It might be. It'll break a little bit of that. It'll still go to the
You think
next
it's the millennials?
I don't know.
know.
I'm
These Gen Zs though, these Gen Zs might be potatoes. Like, you look in your cabinet and there's that potato that's like kind of brown with roots and stuff like that. That's them. But they're still delicious. Like, they're amazing. Like, they're pulling forward a lot of talk about it, and I think that's also piquing the interest of like older people also.
It is.
So, and I think it's a good idea that these kids and just we're all breaking. It's like a cultural, societal, earth woo woke generational curse that we were all blessed with, and we're breaking it. Like, we're just like, you know what, that's not right. Like, we're not going to deal with it, just with looking at our own like histories together.
So I gotta ask you. So did you say you moved to college? Were you born after? So were you like a baby when you moved there? Were you born
like
after '85? Okay,
I was like,
you're not geriatric millennial then, Dave.
I'm not a geriatric millennial. You were talking about
Dave are just
that,
millennial,
like,
yeah. Oh, that was the worst thing I ever. What a way to just make you feel. Because I used to think.
I'm joking.
Oh no, it's
let's
true.
be quiet about the ages, though. Like, people get offended.
Listen, cardboard community. There's no age. We're all.
It ages you
That's
as
right.
soon as you start.
Well,
I
that's
didn't
no
think I'd be
shit.
in my 30s talking about pension plans and 401ks, but look at me now.
That's so true.
So I mean, so going back to like the mental health stuff, I think obviously one of the big issues that I think is people look for a different way to, whether they turn to, I think, Tammy said like drug abuse or alcoholism.
Alcoholism
Is a big one, obviously. And that's probably one of the most popular ones, I would say, unfortunately.
Especially with the times we're in now, too.
I mean, it's
really
legal. You just go to the
yeah.
grocery store. It's right there.
Right.
It's right. It's literally right there. And so like, what would you guys? I'm trying to figure out a good way to word it. What's a good way, I guess, to kind of distract you from going down that path? Like, what would be a way to just for people, if there's people that are listening that are dealing with it, you know what I mean? What would be a good way for people, just that distraction, just to, don't go down that road.
Oh man, that's so tough.
Well,
I mean,
So
like,
tough.
I
I'm
think
sure
it
it
would
varies for
I
say,
could go first if you want. I was
I-
gonna
Yes,
let you
please
talk, Tammy.
do. Yes.
yeah,
One
go
thing
ahead.
that
Go
I
ahead.
think that would help is just to know yourself and to look inward.
Mm.
We spend a lot of time, pointing our fingers at other people and saying like, I didn't have the greatest childhood. I was super poor, and my mom was, la la, and she's crazy. I mean, whatever. But I could sit here and be 34 years old and be like, you're the reason why my life is so fucked up. But the reality is like, I made a decision when I was really young. I was probably around my oldest kid's age, saying that, I don't want to be like her, because I found this like random wherewithal, as a young person, which not a lot of people tend to take, but just looking at the examples of other people and how they struggle. And, I just told myself, like, I want to be a better person than that.
Mm.
And, just being a better person day by day. So not like, looking at other people, essentially, is what I'm saying. Just looking at yourself, like between the way you speak to yourself, the way you talk about yourself. I mean, that's the same thing. But
Absolutely.
the way you treat yourself when it comes down to it, like, the way you feed yourself, what you consume through media, where you go, places that you frequent, and like including the company. And like some people can't separate themselves from that, and a lot of people will tend to like internalize it, and but knowing that you're an individual, and this company is a large entity that tried to say that it was a people, but it's not really a people. It's
No.
So just looking inward,
Mm-hmm.
I think, is the biggest thing. Not all, like I said, like not all people can, I don't know what was up with me. Like, maybe there's like some angel or like whatever who's guiding me, who is like, yo, we're going to stop this right now. You're cool. Like, let's do this. Like, we're going to stop that generational trauma.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I have been guilty of not stopping it completely. So I think looking inward and being willing to admit really hard things about yourself, and really hard things about the people around you.
And like, I think that's one of the biggest things too, is like, obviously, you hear it from everywhere, is, obviously the first, what did they say? The first, when you admit it is when
it's a part of the 12 steps. Like if you go to like, AA or NA or even like CODA, like I've thought about doing CODA because I tend to be a codependent, and all of those places, they'll follow the 12-step program. And, even though you can look at Narcotics Anonymous and Alcoholics Anonymous and look at the people and be like, oh, those people are bad, like they're not good. The thing is that the program that they're teaching them, like, it speaks volumes, especially people who have finished it. And it's,
Right.
Yeah, that's literally, it's just acceptance. It's like these, like the serenity prayer. But instead of like, what I think would help people is, instead of looking at an outward and being like, oh, my boss fucked me, be like, I'm going to deal with this day,
Yes.
It's not going to be easy. And these are the steps I'm
Yes.
going to take to deal with it. Like, I'm just applying this to the company because there's like, other hardships. Like when I had COVID, I went to the grocery store and we had a flat tire, and I was like, COVID changing the flat tire with my son. But, I wasn't letting it stress me out. Learning tools to switch your mindset from, they are the problem to how am I gonna use this as a teachable moment for myself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's one of the things. I could go through like a whole bunch.
That was very well said,
I've
because
also
I
been
thought
doing therapy for, my son's 11, so I've been doing it since he was a baby. So let's I got a lot of that from there. So
to say, like, looking at, that's so true, to look, especially this day and age, it's very easy to not do that because of social media and everything out there. So yeah, I like that. But I was going to say reverting back to what you said about self-care. Sorry if you're hearing a whining sound. That's my fucking dog. Guys,
Aw.
stop it.
Don't worry, I got my kids in
Shows
the background
us.
too. My
Hey,
son came out and burped, and I was like, oh, "Come on!" And I wasn't on mute.
But that's what I was just going to say as far as the self-care thing. Like, like I was saying with sparring or doing whatever would pique your interest in that way too.
Yes.
That
that's
was
the
all I was
physical
saying.
part. Yeah.
Do something
there's-
that really makes your heart move. And for me, I usually have a beautiful yard and beautiful landscape yard, but it's fallen short because I've been depressed. And I hired a landscape person that's going to come along, going to redo all my flower beds for me, going to take everything out because last year froze everything anyway. It ruined everything. So I can start over fresh in the spring. I'm going to replant everything. I'm going to build a greenhouse, build some gardens, start doing a side hustle of refinishing furniture. But I would say try to set some goals. Even if your first goal is to get up and go take a shower.
Right. Yeah.
Second goal, brush your teeth.
You have
Third
to.
goal, you have to, but it's so fucking hard when you're feeling like shit.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
definitely difficult too.
Reach out to friends and family. Definitely, and tell them what's going on. Like my little neighbors across from me have been so much of a blessing to me. I mean, they took care of me like my family through my depression.
The whole, like the Bible says, love thy neighbor.
They're so sweet. I just love them so much. So thankful.
That's awesome.
I'll tell you, for being the unofficial dog whisperer, my dogs piss me off so much sometimes. Like the ones on the road are so nice. I'm like, God, I don't have to pay
You don't
for
have to
you.
live with them. Yeah.
It's like, I don't have to pay your vet bills. I don't have to get you food.
He's not here living rent free.
Yeah.
Did y'all see my little rat terrier that I rescued off my route? Did you see her laying in my lap while I'm rubbing her belly?
Falling asleep.
Yeah.
I wanted to pet her.
I found her last year on my route. Had been added like 20 extra stops, stuff I don't usually run. Beautiful house. Always keep treats. Go to try to feed her a treat, and I could tell she was off. Something was wrong. So I asked the homeowner, I was like, is this your dog? She said, no, somebody dumped her. And I said, oh. And I'm like, okay. I said, look, I gotta take her. And so she met me in Fort Smith, Arkansas, after my route was over and brought me the dog. She slept on top of me her first night home. And she is the best dog, you guys. She is the best dog. I mean, she is just, she sees me. If I'm gone for an hour, you would think I'm gone for 3 days.
That's why
But she's the best thing.
They're so great. I might get, we'll end up getting a third one eventually at some point.
Oh, you have a baby on the way.
Yes.
Don't.
No, yeah, that's
You have a
You're
more
close to knowing what it
expensive
is.
pet on the way. I'm just kidding, they're not pets.
Well, no, we would have known. Well, when this gets released, we probably will know by then. But we were able. They were the only reason we weren't able to know is it was moving so much in the ultrasound. They couldn't tell, but everything was good with the reports. But it's definitely my wife's kid because she is hyperspeed.
Sure. My wife's kid.
My wife's kid. It doesn't get the hyperspeed from me. I'm slow motion.
I don't know. My oldest still sleeps the same way they did, because as soon as they came out, it was you try to swaddle them, and all of a sudden I'd go in the room and they'd be sleeping in the bed and like this with their arms up, and they still sleep the same way with their arms on top of their head. And really doesn't sit still either. It's like, and it's 14 years later. So I think that's indicative of what's to come, because I remember like constantly like, stop, you need to sit over here in my belly. Like, this is painful, So
Yeah.
I think, I don't know. Sometimes they just do it. They might not even get it from your wife. I think, my kid looks like their grandma. It's so weird, and they act like it too.
Oh, talk about looking like your grandma, you guys. I'll share it to you, Sam. I look just like my grandma. It is freaky.
Going through old photos and stuff, you can see it.
Yes, I'm not kidding you. I'll send you a picture of her. You'll be like, holy
It's
shit.
funny how people look like. I don't have a friend of mine that literally his grandfather. He passed away a few months ago. God bless him. He was like 90. He was in his 90s and he was in World War II. And he looked spitting image of my friend, his grandson.
That is so
and like
cool.
when you see his like picture when he was in the army, like his military picture, it looks like my friend. It looks like him in a fucking military. I'm like, dude, that's so freaky, man. It's weird, but I just like, I wanted, so really to some, I wanted to say before, I should have probably said this before we started on that, but just for all the listeners out there, especially everybody that works in the company,
yes,
that the help is there.
Yes.
And it is not, you can absolutely, there's no shame in seeking help for this. And if you have to, like, that's why I asked Tammy about the privately shit said with the company. You may have to stand your ground on a couple things.
Harassment.
If you have to, you have to. And unfortunately, that's why I had that question, because, I've been there long, and I haven't been there 34 years, but I'm almost half at that, but not quite. I've been there long enough to know that there's certain places, certain people may try, but stand your ground. And like she said, to file harassment, but I just, Albert mentioned it. Albert mentioned a shout out to Brown Man and Brown on the Christmas live. And I'd been saying to Dave, we had been wanting to have an episode to address this. And I'm so glad it worked out the way that it did, and we were able to have you and Samantha both on. And but it just, to say it again, to reiterate one more time, because for me, I'd probably have to hear it twice, because I've gotten, like I said, I've gotten better. Like I said, the conversation is steps I've even made with how it is with my dad, and our relationship's always good. But like I said, just communication, just like you don't have to shell up. You don't have to be.
I need to share a couple more.
No, you absolutely can. I just wanted to make sure that I meant to say that before we started into it. So I just wanted to make sure that I really hammered that in. But yeah, go ahead. No, you're good.
I just want to say a couple things. When you file for short-term disability and you're going out, make sure you see a doctor within 3 days. 3 days. File that.
Even if it's like an emergency room doctor. Like,
yes, it doesn't matter.
If you can't get in with your primary care,
That's
you
right.
need to go to, the ER.
Within 3 days, or they will not pay your short-term disability.
Okay.
If you haven't worked enough hours in the year, make sure that you've worked 30 continuous days. Then you go to your doctor, but make sure it's within 3 days. And then you go out. But you've got 26 weeks you can take. 26 weeks you can take to get yourself straight. Work on yourself. Self-care.
Do you know the number of hours that you would have to have if you wouldn't be able to do the 30 days? Is there like a set number for that?
Because see, that's happened to me. That's why I'm saying that, because like I say, I've been going through this for about the past 5 years, and there was one year that I didn't have enough hours in, but
Annually?
I didn't
Like-
have enough annual time.
Okay.
But I had enough. I had 30 days in a row, but I had to go prove that shit. I had to go get that print off from because we'd
Show your
worked
time card.
Saturdays. Yeah, show my time card to prove it to Team Care. But I just want people to know this so they don't have to go through the same shit that I've gone through, you know. And it's hard when you Sam, I didn't realize you had MDD too. And so
Yeah. You can't tell because I laugh about it.
honey, and so thank God we can. But because you can procrastinate so much when
Oh yeah.
depression is a whole, I mean, your brain functions, you know, your whole body. And so you procrastinate, but I want people to know what you need to do so you can take care of yourself. So you don't have to go
That
through the
way-
same
That
shit
way you
that
can
I've
just
gone
be
through.
accountable for yourself and
Absolutely.
not lose what you need. You know, like I said,
Yes.
it's your livelihood.
That's right. So
because
you
if-
don't lose 34 years a year. You know,
Mhm.
I can't afford. And my boss, something else I got to tell you guys. He tried to force me into retirement.
They do that all
No
the time.
shit.
Yeah.
Tried to force me into retirement, which I looked into it, but I'm not quite where I want to be because, you know, I've only been 10 years in as a driver. So I've got,
You want more
I've got,
full-time time.
I want more full-time time.
Mhm.
I've got some money saved up through another thing, but I want more full-time time.
Mhm.
And
Right.
and I am ready to work on myself, work on my goals, get some things paid off, and don't let them force you into retirement because of this.
Mhm.
Don't let them do that. Don't let them harass you.
Or at
Yeah.
least if they do harass you, because you know
File
they're
a
gonna.
grievance. File on
Article
them.
37.
So, there it is. Article 37. I fucking that's well, like I was saying, I don't need that might have been when you were up for a minute, Samantha, when I said, you know, there's
Yeah.
different places and different management, you know, they're going to use that in a different way. So
Definitely.
it's just
I hear
you
lots
have
of
to
different
stand your
stories.
ground.
Mhm.
But I mean, I don't I just is you know, for what we do and also for being the car, Brad Mosier, shout out to damn it, what's his new IG name, Dave? Is it B Mo? I'm gonna fuck it up because I don't know.
Brad Mosier.
he said it, what, like, you know, of what we do is like the military of the corporate world, because
It
we're all
literally
Absolutely.
is. That's
we're
the
brought
only way I
together.
describe it.
Fucking A.
Yeah, we're brought together from all walks of life and all different areas and
Mhm.
coming in, but we all are under like the same banner. So it's just,
Mhm.
you know, it's, you
But-
know, oh, go ahead, Tammy.
Let's remember that we have each other for a support team. And I want
Absolutely.
everybody out there to know that if you need someone to talk to, Instagram me. You want my phone number, you can text me, you can call me. Because I really feel like that I will say over the past year, I've really felt like the Instagram search out there, and I've got friends in London, all over the world here, California, West Virginia, Connecticut,
Oh, neat.
Colorado. That, you know, we can be a great support system for each other, even if it's like, hey, how's your day going? Hope you have a great day. I mean, just little things like that really
Mhm.
help out.
Right.
And are a great mental builder. I mean, it helps me. I know that.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. And I mean,
Great
like, that's
support
one of
system.
that's one of the biggest things too, I feel like is, we've seen through the community on Instagram or wherever, like you see people sharing, rest in peace to this driver, to this,
Oh,
to this driver, that driver. It seems like what we do, it has a high suicide rate,
oh,
and a lot of that is obviously because of mental health.
absolutely.
And that was a big reason why we wanted to do this episode. And Luke and I can't thank you guys enough for the input because it is just incredible. And
The hardest part though, I think, like I just touching on suicide is people who have the ideations, like this is the hardest part is they're not gonna reach out.
right.
And realizing, like I realized this like in a really hard way this past year, like even just with my kid, and like kids are really suffering like from the whole COVID bullshit, being quarantined at home. And that's the hardest part is like they still feel isolated even though you reach out and you tell them. But I don't know, I kind of feel like I'm kind of a mean person, but like I have my boundaries when it comes to certain things. But just reaching out to the person that you can kind of tell is struggling, or even like because you think about like who's the guy from Lincoln Park? Like they had a video of him. Yeah, they had a video of him the day before, just laughing and giggling, and like even my own kid was like, "Yeah, I'm fine," and then all of a sudden I'm at work getting a phone call from a police officer saying, "Hey, we have your kid in an ambulance, we're taking them," and that's the hardest part is like discerning whether or not somebody's feeling okay. But once you see that they're not okay, like I've literally invested like the last part of the year like into my children and trying to just like, because I literally had no idea, and I was like, what the holy shit, and it hit the whole family, not just me in my home, but it hit the grandparents, it hit their dad's side, it hit my mom, it hit everybody. And so it's like that's the hardest part is just like I know we talk about it and it does have a high suicide, high divorce, high drugs, high alcoholism. But I guess trying I'm doing my best to change the whole dynamic of this it's a talk shit kind of environment.
Sure.
And I'm trying to change it, but me automatically just like through patterns of behavior, I'm just like, fuck you guys, but it's I don't know, there's like certain people who I eyeball and I'm like, I think they need somebody. I don't know, that's the hardest part for me when we talk about those kinds of things. It's person can be like, I'm fine, I'm okay,
Right.
like I'm having a great day.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
Right.
I've got
Well,
a
that-
friend that has another user
Mm-hmm.
that me and him talk, then he blocks me. Then I hear from him the night before.
Oh,
we
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
We talk. You know who I'm talking about,
Mm-hmm.
which we won't mention his name.
Okay.
We talk till 1:00 in the morning. I'm like, dude, I gotta go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Good night, whatever. I text him, good morning, hope you have a great day. He's blocked me again. But I'm not going to block him because I know he needs help. And I'll always be here for him.
Mm-hmm. There's something about the
Because-
feminine energy about women talking to men. Like, I don't think you guys would understand just because, y'all got wieners. But there's a difference between women and men. And I don't know what it is. Like, men will call me, they'll talk to me, and they'll tell me a lot of the issues that they deal with. And I don't mind listening to them either, because it's like sometimes you can't talk with your brothers. Like, you talk with your brothers in a separate way than you talk with your sisters, So
Sure.
just because of the, they say there shouldn't be any gender gaps, but there are gender gaps, and I think talking with men sometimes, men talking to men from what I hear is like they're like, oh, just shut up, buck up and man up and that kind of stuff. But like women can talk to women, and I have no qualms with that. And it's you don't want to block him, and I think that's great because like you're still there for them.
No,
You get
that's true.
I get the
That's
deepest. I get the deepest, darkest parts of this guy's soul.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm talking about deepest, darkest part. I mean,
I hope
I
it
do.
helps him. I hope it helps him.
And
Even though you might not be
he
talking.
always tells me how much he appreciates me.
Mhm.
He always, but then he blocks me.
You're definitely, because to go into what I was saying there towards the beginning when you were saying, like, I didn't need to really, I wasn't really explaining when I was saying I was vaguely, that episode, you're right, because I was in deep, people have different lows, but when you're in the low, whatever it is, I was in a dark spot, and that crossed my mind. It crossed my mind more than a couple times. That was like 2010, and that didn't get mentioned. I didn't really mention that to anybody until Dave and I, and that was that was like 11 years later. So yeah, I mean, luckily, but so you're totally right. You're totally right, and everything. I was, as far as me personally, obviously I didn't go that route, but
I've tried to commit suicide twice.
It was a thought. It was a thought.
Twice.
Oh.
Was that in the, I mean, you don't have to go into detail with this if you don't want to, but was that
Well,
just out of
I'm going to say
curiosity?
this.
Okay.
I want to say a few things.
Okay, go ahead.
I want to say a few things. When I was 13, I was gang raped. Before I'd started my period, didn't know what the male part looked like. I was gang raped. So went to the DA. The DA didn't file charges because he didn't feel like there was enough on there. So then, as a young girl, young country girl who didn't know shit, obviously, I felt like I had to try to be this perfect daughter, perfect kid, perfect sister, perfect everything. Make straight A's, be the perfect kid. I mean, I was voted the best student, voted valedictorian in my class, all that shit. None of that shit matters. But I felt so fucking guilty because this had happened to me. And this is something that I had never even spoken about until I went to San Diego in 2018. It's crazy that it takes that long to be able to even speak about it.
That's a big thing to talk about too.
And I just want anybody out there to know that's ever went through anything like this, don't feel bad about yourself. Don't feel like you got to be something else, or you got to be higher. You got to be perfect, because it wasn't your fault. It's not your fault.
Right.
Learning to self-forgive.
It's taken me this long to realize that wasn't my fault, and that I felt like hanging out with some older girls, drinking. Had a friend that had moved in from Dallas to Worcester that had been all through this. But I blamed myself. Don't blame yourself.
You're a kid when that happened.
You're a kid.
It happens. You blame yourself anyway, just because kids have a different mindset. So
but
it's hard to reprogram.
Right. And so things that happen to you as a trauma, because that's trauma. That's trauma, you guys.
That is trauma.
Wow, I'm trying not to cry.
You're okay. Ooh, that's a big thing to be sharing, especially like
That
in such a public forum.
That is a big thing, because I know you had said that to me privately when you said trauma. I knew what you were talking about. I didn't. So I know that is a lot. That is a lot. I'm so sorry that happened to you.
But the thing about it is if we can help one person out there, then we've done something.
Right.
We've done something. And I just think that so many things that go on with us, even day-to-day life and just being a driver, it's fucking stressful. It's tough. And just trying to keep yourself together is tough.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Being
But
a
it's
company
tough,
driver
it's
doesn't.
tough for me.
I think it's tough for a lot of people.
It is.
And
I
there's
think
been
so.
days, you guys. There has been days, you guys. There was one day that I'm driving my truck across the Arkansas River, which is fucking big, and it's a big river. I'm crossing that Arkansas River, and I'm like, this is so fucking hard. I can remember saying that to myself. This is so fucking hard. Because I was having a hard fucking day, and I'm going in. But I'm like, this is so fucking hard.
And that,
But-
and and a lot of people too, especially in what's crazy with the job too, is that most people are happy to see you. Businesses maybe not, but rest
Yes.
of them.
Yes.
But I mean, you
They're
get
always
what
like,
you get
yeah.
you get what I'm saying. But so like when you're having when you're having a day where you're like, this is so fucking hard. This sucks so bad. But you have to get out of the truck and you're like, ta-da! I mean, you know what I mean? You got to sit there and not have a complete motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like I've been,
You still have to be
Yeah,
professional.
like-
right?
Takes a
right.
lot of
able-
mental fortitude.
I was able to share with one of my customers today. One of my several of my TikTok videos that went viral, like 1.6 million views.
I saw that. That was the come here, let me see you one, wasn't it?
Come here, let me see it. That I did for you.
Yeah, I
That
love
I
it.
need to make a
Love
TikTok.
You do need to make a TikTok.
We made one for the podcast page, and that's the one I use because I was refusing. Like I made it once, and then I got off of it because it took so much space on my phone, and I was like, "Fuck it." Then I was all stingy, and then we decided to make one. But it's pretty awesome. It is.
I'll
It's
probably
cool.
end up doing it with feeders because just
Yes.
D-ing around.
You're
They
a
send me to the
badass,
airport, and I'm
honestly.
not allowed to leave the airport until they have something for me. So
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
kind of
it's
I'm
stuff.
so proud
Tailor
of you,
made,
Sam.
tailor made for TikTok. That is awesome, though.
I'll have to
Yeah.
look. Yeah. I'm glad you shared.
I will
what
say
you
that
shared,
I will say this though, you guys, is don't let people make you feel less than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Don't.
Hey, I have a book recommendation actually that I was
Amen.
listening to yesterday while I was working. I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. That actually goes along that don't let people make you feel anything other than what you are. The book's by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. And so like I've listened to like stuff about like 12-step programs. And so the first one, the one I was listening to yesterday is good, but it's always good to start with like the first one. And the first one's called The 4 Agreements. So by Don Miguel Ruiz Sr. And the one I was listening to yesterday is called The 5 Levels of Attachment, and it's Toltec wisdom for the modern world. And Don Jr. pretty much talks about the same kind of thing of, he kind of breaks down the attachment you have to the different people. And, and he speaks about just like ways to help you detach yourself from, if somebody says, how like, just think about, I don't know, a teacher or a coach who was like, you didn't do well, and you internalize something small like that. So like, absolutely, like, a lot of people say it's easier said than done, of course, to not let people tell you who they think you are. And you're like, like an example is, my baby daddy and I have not been on the best of terms, and he would tell me, I'm not the best of mothers. And so, I internalized that for a long time. I'm not a good mom. And, it took me a long time to get over that. So, but the 4 agreements, and then I already forgot the 5 levels of attachment. So those are, 2 really, I think they're really good books as far as just trying to help learn to keep from internalizing what other people have told
Yes.
you. So, because that's the biggest thing, your mother may have said something not nice to you, and you grow up with that for forever. Like in my family, it was like, you're crazy. So, I've kind of embodied it and was like, let me show you crazy. So,
Right. And like, I think that's a big thing too, is parents that tell their children that as well. And then, cause it's almost like that would be that could start just a lifetime of,
and then
troubles
you
down
think
the
about
road.
you go work with the company and the company tells you that,
Right.
So, and it just continues on in different places.
It's true. It's true.
Well, what are you doing?
I'm trying to tell my son to get the fuck out. Hey, I'm on the podcast.
That's all right. I threw stuff at my cat. Just
Come
do
here.
it. Throw stuff at him.
Come here. Come say hi. Y'all got to meet Nick.
Oh,
This is Nick.
hey, buddy.
What's up, Nick?
Hey, Nick. Nice to meet you, man.
If they're meeting Nick, they have to meet Rosie.
My kid said if they're meeting Nick, then they got to meet me.
Oh,
And this is
nice.
Arson, the one I kind of spoke on. This is my oldest.
What's
That's my
up?
honey.
They're making muffins, by the way.
Oh,
Blueberry
All
muffins right
right.
now.
come our way, okay?
Send them your way. We'll see.
Yeah.
This is a first attempt, so.
Oh, there you go. But hey, thank you guys so much for coming on.
I appreciate it.
This is
Thanks for
Yeah, we
having
thank
us.
you guys so
It's
much.
a less
This
fun
has been
topic
great.
to speak on, but
No, it's seriously.
but it doesn't
I
get
was so
spoken
glad-
nos.
No, it doesn't.
No,
It absolutely
especially
does not.
with the company.
Yeah.
The company, the management has that cognitive dissonance. They all got their lobotomies of like, this stuff doesn't exist and they're so utilitarian and military, but that's not, we're still all individuals. So,
Right.
and definitely I've seen every driver I've worked with struggle 100%, like in their own different ways.
Right.
So, and that's in real life. And then now I'm meeting you guys. So, that's online. You guys are just online now. One day in real life, or
Right.
maybe in the universe.
Hopefully.
There you go.
So it's definitely a big topic, I think.
Yes.
So let me ask you guys real quick. Do you guys have anything for us?
I mean, we got these muffins I can send your way.
There you go.
And a PO box. I don't know.
That works.
I would just say, don't be judgmental. And I know I have been very judged at my center because I have missed a lot of fucking dates. I have. But just try to be supportive. Be supportive of the people around you.
I mean, I can tell you from somebody, Tammy, from somebody outside looking in, of hearing your story of working 3 jobs. If there's anybody griping about you missing days, I just personally tell them to fuck off because I'm like,
Hey,
they can leave it, mind their
I
own
gotta show
business. You know what I mean? They
Can you see this ring?
yes,
It says fuck off.
nice,
This is
that's
fuck off.
good. Yeah, they can see
So
that
I
right before
bought
you
that-
sock
I
them in the
bought that for
face.
myself as part of this year rebuilding my life is
Awesome.
fuck
Yeah.
off.
Tammy, you're the big example too of like it's never too late to restart too.
It
know,
is
Exactly.
never too late.
that's where like my mother, she's kind of got this point where she's like, well, I can't do anything about it, that's just who I am. But you're very willing and you're putting in the work, and it's difficult, but I appreciate that. And I think
I will say this is we are very blessed in the fact that we make good money, that we, even though you may get down, you can rebuild your life as a
Right.
so
yeah, let me
Right.
tell you, you talk about your income or not income, but your finances and stuff, like
Yes.
how depression affects you.
yes.
But there's always, you can always, rebound from it. Like I had a 750 credit score just a year ago, and I've completely fucked it up. But I'm gonna rebuild it. So
Absolutely, sister.
and it's just
Right.
because of the,
Absolutely.
it's just because of my own diagnosis, and it's
It is.
just a part of
It makes
so
you
don't-
realize real quick how people end up homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I
Real
think part
quick.
of what I'm getting at and what I'm following up on you is that, just forgive yourself when it comes down to it. So that'd be
Yes.
something I'd give to you, and then these muffins, and go feed
It
us.
wasn't my fault.
Go feeders. Make sure you
It was
drive
not.
the big boy trucks with me. That way we can go do the trucker high.
Yes.
It's awesome. So thank you guys again for
Thank
sharing
you.
Yeah,
as
so
well.
much.
And
Likewise.
I really hope this episode can help some of the drivers out there. For sure.
Yes.
So Tammy and Samantha, Luke, everybody listening, thank you guys. And
Thank you.
continue delivering greatness. And don't forget your most important stop, everybody, okay?
Exactly.
That's right. We'll see you guys
Right.
next week,
Good
all right?
night.
Later, everybody.
See you guys.
Bye.